Baby Ian. This guy is getting big and heavy. And this guy wants to stand all the time. My Ian wants to stand all the time, stand all the time, stand all the time. My Ian. He wants to do something and then, alright, put him on the ground, let's let him roll around under that little thing, little play thing. A few minutes later, okay, I'm done with that. Put him in the little walker thing where he can stand up. A few minutes later, I'm done with that. Alright, let's put him on my lap again, let him stand up again. Okay, I'm done with that. How about you want to sit? No, don't want to sit. Immediately cries. Or whines, I should say. And I'm like, man, when our three girls, they were so easy at this baby age. You could lay them down, you could sit them down, they would crawl around or, look around or whatever and be pretty content. This little fella, he's wanting to check out stuff and do stuff and move and do other stuff, and I'm like, man, we only got so many things we could do in a day. And you can't just have him, like, even right now, my hands are getting tired even though he's like helping stand a little bit. Like, jeez, boy. So Ian, in exactly 2 days, will be 5 months old. Ain't that right, baby? Mini me will be 5 months old. It's amazing how he looks. I swear we're twins. So, alright, time for some WebBot data. Whoa. Say, bye. Look at that face. Look at that smile. He's looking at Mama, that's why. See Mama? Huh? You see Mama? Yep, and I smile too, because now she's got you. She had him a lot yesterday too, man. I was just like, gosh, you do this with him, you do that with him. He wants to, that's not enough. Okay, what else can we do? Okay, maybe we'll take him swimming. He does like swimming. He got this little blow up thing that like just wraps around, like you just twist it and put it on his neck, and then has like these little ridiculous button things. But I mean, it isn't, even without the buttons, it ain't going nowhere. And there's just a little gap, so his chin kind of is what holds him up. Doesn't choke him. It's made for it, to do that. And man, he just loves floating around in that water. But again, after, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes max, probably closer to 15, he's kind of getting done. So I'll try to take that thing off his neck. Then I'll just hold him and move around a little bit and hold his head. And, that might last a few minutes at best. Sometimes, nope, he's just done. Time to get out of the pool. So, man, he's 5 months old. He just wants to do stuff. Okay, let's do something else. Let's do something else. He can't talk yet, of course, so he just whines, a bit when he wants to change, obviously, to something new. I'm like, oh my God. Like I said last time, I was like, Evelyn, I was talking to Ian with her standing there. I'm like, thank God I'm not a single dad. Even if I didn't have to worry about the girls and I just had Ian, it was just me and the boy. Oh, it'd be tough. And just he wants to do stuff. He wants to stand all the time, like stand all the freaking time. It's like, well, I can't hold you here like this forever, So put him in the little thing to help. He messes with that. Then okay, done with that. All right, time to put him down in the crib or whatever. Let him take a little nap. He's now where he's like, he likes to roll over on his side and sleep now. So, anyway, let's get into WebBot 4 minutes later. Someone had sent this to me in an email. They were scanning through one of the 2016 reports. This would have been September 2016, inside the New World Emerging, September 2016. Cliff High, all rights reserved. Dear Mr. Snippy, not sure if you already covered this specific report in a video, but I put together some notes for your reference below. I also live in Phoenix, Arizona, and would love to join you in New Mexico, even if it's 109 degrees out there. I have a Tacoma truck and all the outdoor gear, so it wouldn't be a burden, just that universe keeps telling me to ask you to send you an email. Thank you, Andy. yeah, right now, I can't really invite any more people. Just we've got plenty that, and not that I have a lot, but there's plenty for what we need to do. Um, and I've got to be super careful on just inviting honestly random people that I don't, personally know. Um, so there could be a day, because there's going to be, there's stories of stuff out there that, for me, I'll get into the webbot in a minute, but for me, uh, there's certain ones that are off limits. There's a spiritual attachment. There's Indian history, sacred grounds. Like, I don't know that I can invite people to just go to those. And there's not many. There's just honestly, I know of a couple out of the 4 main ones that we're working on right now. Other places throughout that mountain range, there's history all over the damn place. There's probably some opportunity at a later date to just maybe try to find some of those other ones, drone it, hike it. Those wouldn't be nearly as, I guess, sacred or as important to me, where I could bring anybody and I wouldn't be concerned, like, oh, they found our spot. No, not for these other ones. At some point, there'll probably be an opportunity for that for some people. So here we go. The sun disease. Let's see where we got. 6 minutes and 30. Okay, so that way I can put a little note in the video. The webbot stuff starts at about 6 minutes. 6.5 minutes. The sun disease is not the only form of disease that is going to be... And by the way, this is... He put some of the pages, but I'm not going to tell you which page, because I had to copy this out of an email. And when you copy the webbot report, it's all junked up, and like you got to go in and delete this weird symbol. Like I cleaned it all up, and I got rid of the page numbers, so just whatever. The sun disease is not the only form of disease that is going to be occupying us over fall and into winter. There are very large areas of growth in the global pop sets that provide hints for both epidemics and attempts to sell pandemics. Isn't that an interesting choice of words? USA Pop. New data sets are bringing up the idea that businesses all across the USA Pop are going to be hitting a sales wall as a number of conditions converge over fall and winter, as the economic crisis devolves into crunch time and pain but no gain time for consumers. The data is showing that businesses of all kinds will be scrambling to cover giant drop in sales. There will be many exceptions that will be standing out from the general gangrenous, I guess it was that is, business climate. Our data sets have details for restaurants with fewer people in them. We were at Cracker Barrel. I took my kids there a few days ago. And, okay, we're 50% capacity, 6 feet apart, tables, every other table. And even then, we got right in. I mean, they're like, okay, we'll call your name in a minute. Well, we went to go look at browse the store, they were calling our name. So, all they asked was, we had 5 people instead of 4 people. Do you mind putting a chair at the end of the table? Yeah, no problem. And as I looked around the room, I'm like, yes, these types of tables. I thought, well, maybe all the tables are taken, No. They're just basically the seat 4. And maybe they had the whole one area closed off or something. And that's the story everywhere. That is the story everywhere. Me and Frank went to our Mexican restaurant we went to go to the other day. My buddy at work, former work. We went and ate lunch the other day, a few days ago also. This was like maybe Wednesday or Tuesday. And, man, it was definitely not at 50% capacity. Like, it was low. Got right in, of course, so. Anyways, this report was written in 2016. So the future as fewer people are going out for dinner to commercial restaurants. The data does show the rise in unlicensed kitchens, in officialdom speak, that will seemingly, according to the data, come known to be as flavals or some variant, and are best described as collective kitchens. The idea is that people will still require the social release of restaurants, but not be able to afford them, so will work cooperatively to provide the experience without the prices. The whole of the unlicensed kitchens movement is shown as irritating government, and thus the crackdown. However, it won't work, and the data sets have this idea of a collective approach to low-cost socializing, evolving into many different forms of new local festivals. So keep in mind, when he said the idea is that people will still require the social release of restaurants but not be able to afford them, he just, if you didn't understand what that meant, that's what he said. And the data sets have this idea of a collective approach to low-cost socializing, evolving into many different forms of new local festivals. People need to be out and socialize. And here's the weird thing. You can have the need to do that and just be around people without even technically socializing with them. Like, you could be like, I'm tired of being locked down in this house. Like, I got to get out. And you just go to eat somewhere by yourself. And you don't even really communicate with anybody other than the waiter or waitress. And I'm good. Got my fix. You just got to be out and be around people. We're not meant to be, humans are not meant to be hermits. Living in the middle of nowhere. I watched that show. It's got one of these survival shows. It's called Alone. And there's a new one coming up, I think, where they're like an Arctic winter and they have to survive 100 days. And I don't know if they're giving it out to everybody or just one person like they normally do. But it's like, can you survive 100 days? The other shows, they don't have a thing where you survive a certain number of days. It's whoever survives the longest. Once the final person's there, they win. So, and it's usually $500,000. Now they upped it to $1 million. I enjoy watching the show. I like those shows. Naked and Afraid, that one, Alone. But you see these people breaking down out there, and a lot of times it's the social part. I'm alone out here and I'm anyone to talk to. I'm thinking about my family, my kids, and they just can't take it. So it's really interesting to see that. Yet more data is forecasting that the economic crisis is going to morph into a political crisis as the population in many politically hot regions are going to turn out into the streets in very large-scale protests. I'm sorry, read that one again? Okay. Yet more data is forecasting that the economic crisis is going to morph into a political crisis as the population in many politically hot regions. Oh, you mean all these democratically run hotbeds where the rioting's happening right now? Over the killing, the police officer choked the guy with his knee. Again, this is not what that's about. This is about the election. These are all democratic strongholds in which this is happening. As the population in many politically hot regions are going to turn out into the streets in very large-scale protests. Mainstream media, or otherwise known as MSM, or otherwise known as mainstream media, or the propaganda press, is showing up as participating in the daily life of USA pop, as the whole nation is showing as morphing into a state of chaos. Now, I'm going to stop for 1 second. Just the last few things I've talked about here. If I read you this a month ago, large-scale protests, Joe, what? Propaganda press, participating in daily life, How about now? Now that these are violent riots have started. The MSM is mainstream media is going to participate in the sense of having to report on themselves as they become the center to the story in a number of ways. First, we have media personalities as victims of reprisals from the public, then as victims of thinking themselves immune from the chaos around them, and as victims of the police, who are described as reaching a point of not giving a crap anymore. Not going to be a good year for the mainstream media personalities. More detail sets are piling in for various parts of the country, showing that the uncertainty factor causes a ripple through the whole of the real estate markets nationwide, that in turn affects everything from holiday sales to schools to voting. Schools, huh? Voting, huh? So the schools are locked down. No one's gone back to school. They shut those down because of coronavirus nonsense. We're not in a holiday yet, but sales are already incredibly terrible. In voting. Oh, well, mail-in voting. We got mail-in vote. Coronavirus. We got to do mail-in voting in all the Democratic-run states. We got to do mail-in voting so we can harvest those ballots and then figure out exactly how much we need to win the elections. Wow, he just nailed all of the things that are happening right now. More detail sets are piling in. I'm going to read it again. For various parts of the country, showing that the uncertainty factor causes a ripple through the whole of the real estate markets nationwide, that in turn affects everything from holiday sales to schools to voting. As may be expected, the uncertainty factor is going to create some major freakout and rage at the banks time for lots and lots of people. These sets are cross-linked over to the riots at government offices by retirees sets from previous Alta reports. To read that again. As may be expected, the uncertainty factor is going to create some major freakout and rage at the banks time for lots and lots of people. Why would lots and lots of people being raging at the banks? So far, the banks have had nothing to do with the stuff happening right now, right? Well, unless maybe you can't get all your money out, there's a bank holiday, or like that prophecy of David Wilkerson where he said, I saw Macy's being raped and pillaged, which just happened a few days ago in New York, the one he saw in his vision in 1990-something, or whatever the hell year it was. The guy's been dead for a long time now. He said, oh, when this country goes down, I think it's Mexico, $100 billion, they're going to default. When that one goes down, you've got 2 weeks to get your money out of the bank because you're going to go through 6 months of not being able to do so. So I'm still watching. And if you guys catch something and you don't hear me like that, and you don't hear me talking about it on a video immediately, you better send me a message at realistnews.net. Joe, Mexico just defaulted, dude. Did you hear it? Oh my God, no I didn't. Thanks. Time to run to the effing banks and pull, 90% out, whatever you got. Wow. And then again, these sets are cross-linked over to the riots at government offices by retirees sets from previous Alta reports. Why would retirees be rioting at government offices? Here it is. I got it. This has to be it. When I read that, I remember this from a long time ago, 2016. I figured, oh, probably the whole nation, really. And it'd be federal government. But is it possible, because all these Democratic-run states that hugely had the biggest numbers of coronavirus people and deaths for some odd reason, all Democrats, and we have them now begging President Trump for money, billions. I think California needs like $1 trillion. Yeah, okay, we'll be right there. Could it be possible that these retirees, or old folks basically, rioting at the state level government offices because their states are completely dead broke? Not necessarily a federal thing. Now, the only thing is, well, if it's a government office and it's a retiree, that typically you would think means just Social Security. Therefore, could be any state, not just a Democratic state. But is it because there's so much pain in the Democratic states, that's why they're violently protesting or whatever? Again, I'm not sure, but I thought, could it be that? It's got to be something to do with these Democratic states. Maybe. Well, I guess we're going to find out. Note that as of this posting, there are very large sets showing a huge push coming out of language for an October surprise in both emotions and actions, but not in time. Rather, the data sets are saying that the surprise shows up in the third week of September, and it does so with a real rush of events. This rush is what carries us forward into October. Lots of this language points to very large amount of breakage in the markets in this October. But, and again, this was from 2016. But there is nearly twice as much data for another crash, breakdown, shakeout for March of 2017. So 2 crashes, it says. If that's the case, and again, this is 2020, then that would mean to me March of 2021. The data set, or the data could be showing that there is a foreshadow crash coming for mid-September that gains real traction after the equinox and is roiling and breaking in October, and then the big drop in late February and early March of next year. Now, granted, we kind of had that happen with the stock market this year, around that time frame. Huge drop from 30,000 Dow approximately down to under 20K Dow. Now it's recovering. Has that already happened? You know, again, it's hard to say. There are a lot of descriptors for the kinds of offices being mobbed, and these include all manner of financial/wealth management, as well as government offices. Okay? Retirees. Here's the thing, you could be a retiree, and you don't necessarily have to live on just Social Security, right? You played all your cards right, you were a big shot, I was so smart. Oh, pat on the back, I'm so damn smart. I put my money in the system, 401k, wealth management, they've been handling my funding, I get my little extra check, plus I get a little pittance of Social Security. And then the big wealth fund that's been paying you the lump sum that you've been really living off of goes bye-bye. Now you're mad. And you're upset because Social Security is not enough. I can't live off this, and maybe that's why they go riot at the Social Security offices or government buildings. There are a lot of descriptors for the kinds of buildings being mobbed, and these include all manner of financial/wealth management. Why would those buildings be mobbed? It's not a bank. Oh, I'm going to go rob a bank, man. I'm going to rob a bank. No, you're not. That's not what that is. They're pissed off. Where's my effing money? Where's my retirement money? You son of a... You know what? That's what that is. But those of us who had our money outside of that system, perhaps in, I don't know, gold, silver, crypto, none of us may be doing any of that nonsense. Not going to any government building, not going to any wealth management, because if I'm going to a wealth management building, I'm going to my own building, knock on my own damn door, knock it down. Hey, where the hell's Jay Snip, man? You have me getting all these damn cryptos, bro. Then I turn and switch sides. What are you talking about? You're responsible for your stuff, dude. That's your own money. You're responsible. Whose house are you going to go to? Whose building are you going to go to? The government? They didn't make you get into crypto. You're going to wealth management? They didn't manage your wealth. You did. It's your own fault. See how that works? Anyways, there are lots of descriptors and the kinds of offices being mobbed, and these include all manner of financial/wealth management, as well as government offices. In several of these sets, we have details that are describing riots by old people. So not the most energetic of riots, but not without destruction and many arrests. The credit freeze language continues to gain within model space. It spreads out much like ice on a pond through the financial system. The data has spots within USA Pop, starting in the housing market, while in other areas of global pop, the credit freeze begins in foods for local resorts, Spain, even it lists Spain, or fuels for transport on island, or in casino/resort traffic, or any number of other areas cited in the new data sets. The descriptors are providing a view of a crisis that will be deepening and widening as it is being reported upon. Some of these reports will include descriptions of all manner of production facilities from factories to factory farms being shut down due to lack of funding or continuing operations. Oh, you mean like the meat factory shut down? Oh, COVID, we got shut down. And right now, business is suffering financially. Oh, we got to shut down. It's happening right now. Or due to the lack of such funding elsewhere, which means a critical part goes on back order. How about a critical part goes on back order that you needed to get from China that's no longer coming? There's that. Well, now it appears that 2016 is the year that we have the irrelevant Fed language manifesting. No, that's 2020. That's 2020. There are very large growth areas in our model space in both the data particulars and the patterns of their accretion that are going to dumping the dollar. Note that the language here is global. It is in every multi-byte language that we scan. Not a good sign. The rapid growth of the phrase is related linguistically to dump the dollar is shocking. This rate of growth is so large as to be dominating this set. Both the rate of growth of the language and the language itself are forecasting a very sudden change in the state of the dollar, at least in terms of who will take it and who will no longer take it. The final sentence. The data sets are showing that the shopping collapse wall is going to hit retailers in the face in early November, but by then, many will be overcommitted to holiday inventory. This last is what is indicated to be the killing blow for many small businesses that had owners who believed in the mainstream media propaganda press. So that's interesting. Very interesting. And if you think about the death of the dollar, is it just because, oh, you've been the world reserve currency long enough? Oh, it's just time to move on. Or, since Donald Trump's the only non-deep state person practically on the face of the earth running a country, the rest of them are part of the deep state, pretty much. They all can say, oh, well, here's how we hurt Donald Trump. We no longer accept the dollar. So we have 99% of the world piss off. And then ourselves, we're the only ones that have the dollar. So there's going to be pain, right? There will be some pain. After that pain, do we all of a sudden hear, oh, we're going back to a gold-backed currency, and we've got some allies, very few allies, who knows? See, back when this was written, death of the dollar, oh, well, that's probably because we're printing out of control. Look at Barack Obama. We printed $12 trillion while he was in office, or $10 trillion, whatever it was. The next person that comes in, it's gonna be even worse. Again, that's Trump, and look what it is. Not that it's his fault. And I figured, well, that's, probably like most of you, well, that's what it's going to be. We're just printing out of control. We have this huge economy, like the largest in the world practically. So when our dollar gets printed, the rest of the world's going to be like, hey, man, y'all need to sell down. We can't just print our money. And maybe that's why they leave. No. Now we know why. We got an outsider running our country that's not part of the club, not part of the New World Order, and is telling them to F off and is actually going to go after them. Is damaging them severely. Their drug lines, their gun running, the trafficking of people. He's shutting them all down. So retaliation will stop taking the dollar. We're not there yet. But if I'm a betting man, and I am, in this case, it's probably not too far off. So again, are we going to have a $100 billion default by Mexico, like David Wilkerson prophecy said? You got 2 weeks to get your money out of the bank. That's it. And if you're successful, and you've got thousands of dollars at your disposal, and everybody else doesn't, and people are panicking to sell anything they got that they really don't need anymore, materialistic type items, and they'll take anything, and they realize there are people whose bank account says they've got the money, but they can't actually get the money. And I want cash. I'm not playing that game. I want cash, man. You got to pay me cash. Not in this environment. I only take cash. Okay. Well, in that case, I've only got $100 for this $10,000 item you'd like to sell. Oh, hey, my name's Jason at 4. I've got $500. Like, I mean, I would tell you I got 200 since he's only got 100, but I don't think I think my guides, my spiritual advisors, would be upset at me if I didn't offer you $500 for this $10,000 object when everyone else, the best you can get is $100. At least I'm offering you 5 times more than everybody else. Would you like to do a deal? Absolutely. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. That's possible. Again, I didn't ask for this. I didn't make this happen. I'd love to reverse it and just go to some smoother type of a thing where we change this whole system around. It's good for everybody, but there's no pain involved. But that's not how humanity works. When there's no pain involved, people will fight you. What do you mean change that? Whoa, what do you mean? Everything's fine. Okay. You're blind, you're asleep, you're hypnotized by the media and the government who's been feeding you crap all these years. Now we've got a Trump at the helm. That's, but it's too late. He can't just change everyone's minds all of a sudden and deprogram you. No. A human being gets deprogrammed when they're forced to get deprogrammed. And how is that? I'm feeling pain right now. Financial pain, hunger pain, different kinds of pain. Maybe physical pain. I went to the store and these rioters attacked me. I was just trying to get some groceries. They stole all my stuff. Well, okay. Why did they steal my stuff? Well, because they don't have it. Why don't they have it? Well, because they don't have money. Why don't they have money? Well, I've been hearing about everyone's bank accounts getting shut down and no one can get access to cash. Oh. Now you're mad. Are you really mad at the people or are you mad at the system? Why did that happen? You're going to have to go do some legwork. Why did that happen? Well, who's in charge of that? Federal Reserve. How did they get created? How did that happen? Fractional reserve lending. Banks, interest. Banks create loans out of nothing. Whoa, what? What? For real? We've been living that way the whole time? And I didn't even know this? What? I feel like a jackass. Oh, good. I'm glad. Now we need a whole bunch more y'all jackasses to feel that. And then change comes. But not before people feel the pain. They're not willing to change anything. I just leave me alone, live my life. Debt slave or not, I don't want to get involved. Until, okay, damn it, now I've got to get involved. That's why I'm trying to prepare and do these videos for y'all. So that when that time comes, and we're at the climax of it, or thereabouts, maybe we don't have to get involved at all. I don't need to worry about this, I don't have to worry about that, I got that taken care of. Now, what about the grocery store thing? If people are getting mobbed, well, that'll be one that you're going to have to figure out, I guess. But go in groups of people, go with the group of your neighbors, armed, concealed carry, legally, whatever your state offers. If it was that bad and there's mobs of people outside, plundering and pillaging people. But typically, you would have a police presence at the food centers. I mean, that's where the concentration would be. Because starving people, this doesn't go well. And if they ransack a place, no one else gets food, that would probably be a protected place, in my opinion. But I don't know how, we don't know exactly how bad it's going to be. I will say this. Webbot, remote viewers even, these guys, a lot of times, the data they get, when they report, this is what I saw, this is what I got, it's a bit doomier than many times what actually happens. So oh, that was kind of bad, but, well, I was expecting worse, actually, because of what such and such said. Like right now, we've had a few people killed in the riots. Other black people killed by black people. Well, I thought it was Black Lives Matter. They're worried about the guy getting choked. Oh, but they just murdered a guy that owned a pawn shop and left him dead. Black youth killed him. Saw that video. You had the person get dragged down the street by the truck under the semi-tire. There's several others. So, while that sounds scary, if it was just a handful, ultimately, or 24, by the time this ends, that's 24 people. Sounds scary when I was watching it and listening, but there's only 24 people. 24. Right? So I just want to, before you get too doomy and gloomy, these bot reports and the remote viewers too, for whatever reason, those two seem to err to the side of doomier, but at the same time, I'm a subscriber of both Farsight and Dick Algar and Crypto Viewing, those guys, and they do show some interesting stuff that's been happening, pretty spot on. So it just how bad? Dick says soon the shooting's going to be starting. that they remote viewed. Soon we're going to start hearing about shooting. Like, people shoot, not just one person shooting at somebody, but person A shoots at person B, A and B shoot at D and C shoot back at A and B. Like, it's not just going to be one little thing. So, he goes, based on the timeline of events I've seen, it's coming soon. Shooting starts very soon. So it'll be interesting to see, well, how bad does a shooting get? Because again, if it's just two main stories that we hear about, and that was it, it's still a hit. But, oh, it's just a little skirmish here and a little skirmish here and it was over. Okay. Or, it's going to get a whole lot worse. And the remote viewers will nail it. Like, you know, even worse than what they, as bad or worse than what they saw. That's a possibility too. But my hopes are in that typically it's a little scarier than we think at first, and then when it happens, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And if you're down there experiencing it, well, that's probably going to be pretty scary. Like I said, try to avoid it. Try to stay away. I went down to Plant City because I knew ain't no way this is going to get crazy and violent. The police presence that I saw was going, and I saw one person who just got a little rowdy and they arrested him. That was it. I still have the drone footage. I didn't put it up yet, but it's like, do I want to just for that one little thing? It was nothing. It was just mostly people marching down the street in a big, big, big police presence. So typically, again, stay away from that kind of stuff. But where I'm out in this kind of area, this is like Redneckville. The inner cities, you may have the thugs and things to worry about. So, anyways, that's what I think about all this. Whatever. Take care.